whiteboard. Love it. Okay. You cannot minimize Zoom when you are recording this meeting. What? No. No. Okay, did it record this though? Let's see if it records this. I assume it's recording the. No.
Share your screen.
I have to share my screen on top of that? Really? No fund. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's the schedule now. So I'm going to jump to this then. And I can't give you guys all the answers. So I'm going to go like this. Minimize me pretty good. Sharing screen. My audio voice is happening. Let's go. So let's go with it here. So 4.5, finding the equation from a graph. So we're going backwards today. So far we've been graphing ever since 4.1. We graphed. 4.2. We graphed. 4.3. We graphed. And then 4.4. We graphed. Okay, cool. So now let's go backwards here.
Given graphs?
Yes. I give you guys the graph. And then you find the equation. All right, let me look at that. 17. Okay, time is here. Can look back at the example number 1. Here it is. I have to give you guys a graph this time. So here it is. I'm going to draw out this graph. It's like this. It goes all the way out to 2 pi. Or let's give you an easy one to start off with. Then we're going to go into space and be all crazy.
Yes.
So pi over 2, and then 3 pi over 2. And then let's go with 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go -2, +2. All right, tell me if I'm going too fast. Otherwise, here's my little dot. It goes like this. It goes whoosh. Does it go whoop whoop or just a whoop? Just a whoop. Or a whoosh. I'm not sure. What should we use whoosh for? Whoop. Whoosh.
I feel like the whoop whoop and then the whoosh.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Maybe it goes. It doesn't just go down. It goes down and back up.
Yeah, but
You gotta do the down and back up in your voice. Whoop. That's
Okay.
why. That's why you do
whoosh.
it. Going down.
But that is the majority of the graph. It's going
Well, it's equally going down.
I feel like the whoop doesn't address that equal majority.
Yes, it does. Yes, and you go down with your voice, and then you go up with your voice.
Okay.
All right, let's go with it.
You also can extend it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you feel like it's not enough, you can do more down.
Whoop.
Copy.
I understand it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
All right, we got the vocal cords for the we got the voice. Absolutely. Yeah, I had to let that go. Yeah. So let's go with it. So we want an equation of this. So first things first is we want it as simple as possible. So we look at the graph just to sort of see, is it a cosine or a sine curve? Now we could make it a sine curve as well, but it takes a little more effort. We good? Because remember, sine and cosine are just offset of each other. So first things first, what is my amplitude? 2. That's not easy enough. What is my period?
2 pi.
2 pi. Is there a reflection?
No.
No. Oh, cool. Okay. So let's do this here. We're going to try to make an equation. There's my 2 right away. Is that right? We know it's cosine. Good, good. And because my period is 2 pi, that's the normal period for, right? So that's just going to be a good old X. Anything else here? No. Okay. Now, that's the easy one. We good?
You should keep it there.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah. So if there's nothing, give that a question. If there's nothing, just an X over here, you could put parentheses or you don't have to put parentheses. One or the other, both are totally correct. Okay. Is it getting more difficult? Yes. Okay.
Does it have to be?
It does. It does.
That's where it is.
All right, so a few things here that we've got to think about here. So first things first is amplitude is pretty easy to get, right? You just look from the middle of the graph to the top, right? So when we graph these, let's do this here, kind of right underneath here. So you're going y equals a cosine of b. Oh, sorry, brackets here. Let me do brackets here. Sorry, let me change it to brackets here. So what we normally do is we go brackets, sorry, messed up here. Parentheses, x minus C, parentheses, and then we go plus D. That is the normal process that we use in order to figure out the equation of any of these trig or sine and cosine trig functions. So A is my amplitude, is that right? It's also a negative if it was flipped over, right? Cool. So then we say B, we got to find the B value. And then there was no phase shift, so that was 0. And then there was no vertical shift, so that's 0 as well. Are we good? So the only one we kind of had to find was B. How do we find B? Is this right here. We know that the period equation, right, is 2 pi over B. True, true. Everybody agreed there? And so now what happens is we're trying to find the B. We're trying to go backwards here. So I look at this little chart and I say, you know what, the period here is 2 pi. So this equation changes into this. It changes into 2 pi is 2 pi over B. And then the question is, what is B? It's 1, right? Because both sides are the same. But if we wanted to, we can multiply both sides by B. And we get ourselves 2 pi B equals 2 pi. And can we divide by 2 pi both sides? And what is B going to be? 1. Okay, that's how we get 1 on the more difficult questions. We good? So we actually solve for B. We solve a linear equation for B. C is pretty easy. From the graph itself, you can kind of see what the shift over is going to be. Don't forget, if it's going to the left, it's going to be it's going to be a plus C, right? It's always the opposite sign here. That's why the minus is there. This one's always the sign with it. So that's why we have a positive D. Okay, we're good. So let's jam to the next one. Doo-doo. Exercise 2. Here's my graph. It goes out to pi. Means half of that would be pi over 2. Half of that would be pi over 4. Other side would be 3 pi over 4. And let's see. Just out of my brain, I'm going to go all the way out to here. And here. And this is going to be a minus 3.
I think it's reflected.
And a positive 3.
Oh. I think it's reflected. I think it's. What is
Okay, so let me write this out here. So first things first, look at it. Does it look like more like a cosine curve or a sine curve? Cosine. Let's put in all our stuff here. That's B, that's X, minus C. Okay, you can also write H and K. I think the book does H and K. We're good? Just so you know, both ways. All right, so first things first, anything that we know. Amplitude. Amplitude, it is 3, perfect, and inverted, is that right? Everybody okay with A? Negative 3. Cosine, doo-doo-doo. What is the B value? 2, awesome. So here it is, period is looking at my graph. It's 2 pi over B, right? That's my equation for it. But then the period, as I'm looking at this graph, the period is just pi. So pi is equal to, oh, I see, I didn't do it nicely over here. How about this? I like to do it like this here. So I noticed the period here is pi. And from here, you can pretty much just guess, right? But what you can do is you can just switch these, right? Multiplying by b, dividing by pi gets me b is equal to 2 pi over pi, which is just 2 done. 2 goes there. Do I have a phase shift? No. Do I have a vertical? Well, I should do it this way here. Let's see. So minus 0, technically, if we want to do it correctly here, right? And then do I have a vertical shift? No. So then this guy, here's my sort of condensed version of my graph. At this point, I could put parentheses. I could not put parentheses. That's fine. The time you have to put parentheses if you have something that's adding or subtracting after the 2x, right? At that point, you would have to put parentheses. Okie dokie. Here we go with number 2. Pretty easy, isn't it? You know, that's super cool. Okay, but do you guys remember how I said that sometimes you can model something with the sine curve, right? So cosine curve. So here it is. Let's do this here. Let's model. What are we gonna? There's my two equations, right? So let's do number two again. Let's do number two again, but this time, here's my graph of number two. You don't need to do another graph of it if you don't like. But I want you guys to make a sine equation instead of a cosine equation as the model. Doesn't have to be reflected. Ooh, it doesn't have to, yeah. So interestingly enough, here's what happens. So if you kind of shift, if you think of this as kind of going backwards here, you put a dot here, right? That would be reflection of the sine curve, right? But the sine curve could just begin here. True, true. Is that okay there? So then what we would have to do is we have to get another little dot right here, right? Our imagination says there's an extra dot here, what is that dot there? Everybody okay with 5 pi over 4 here, right? Okay, so let's start. Our equation, that we have to fill it out, is y equals a sine curve this time. And I'm going to use the way the book does it here. So it's b x minus h plus k. We good? Okay, so first things first. We are going with -3 here, +3 there. If we start here as our first term, do we have a reflection? What's my amplitude? 3. Are we okay? A being 3? +3, right? Sine is here. What's my period? Well, if it gets a little bit tough, right? If it goes from 0, that's pretty easy, right? But if you're trying to find the period yourself, you can just do this. You can say where it ends. We're good? 5 pi over 4. Subtract where it began. Are we okay there? We got a 4 pi over 4, and we got ourselves a pi for the period. We good? Just subtracting where it ends, where it started. We get that one right there. Then we still have to put it into this equation right here, right? So period is equal to 2 pi over b. So pi is the period from above. This is 2 pi over b. We switch the p and the by and the b. I'm confused now. We were switch the b and the pi. There you go. And we got ourselves a 2. So 2 goes over here. Okay, now question is this. Do we have a shifting over of stuff? What should we put over here?
A -4 pi over 4.
Perfecto. Minus pi over 4 is my phase shift. And then k is 0. Okay, now. Oh, sorry, I forgot my x. There you go. My x is okay there? Right there. It's x minus pi over 4. Okay, so sometimes you can leave it like this, or let's see. Sometimes books leave it like this. Usually, though, they would just multiply the 2 into it. We're good? So this time, now you have to have the parenthesis here. So y equals 3 sine of, notice what happens is when I distribute the 2, I don't have a bracket and a parenthesis, right? It just looks like this, but what is over here? Everybody okay with pi over 2? Okay, that's the answer that Bob would give. We good? All right. So far, so good. Any questions?
Is do all the math books, answer keys, are they all named Bob or do?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. No, there's yeah, Bob. Only Bob. Yep. Now there's also a Sam, right?
Who's this?
Student
You guys
answer.
never? Yeah, Sam. Sam is cool because Sam, what he does is he actually writes out the exact steps for each and every single problem.
I like Sam.
Bob is like lazy. He just puts down the final answer. Done. Sam, student answer manual.
No way, I guess.
Why not? I didn't have to.
So when we start chapter 5, I'll introduce you to Sam because in the back of the book, the work itself is going to be important, not the answer. Starting chapter 5. Oh, in chapter 5. 5.1 it's going to be. So Sam, yes, you see Sam. Oh, I have to give Sam. Uh-huh.
Sam is earned.
Oh.
No, Sam is given, but then you have to go back and check. But the only thing is with Sam, he has a master's in mathematics, right? So what he does sometimes, he'll like do like one step in which you guys might do like 3 steps, right? He goes like, oh yeah, I can invert this and that's the reciprocal, so the answer is gonna be here, right? Then they're like, what did you do, Sam? So then we have questions like that. All right, let's go with it here. So here it is. Exercise number 3. Here's my graph. You guys try it yourself. Work with the person next to you.
Maddie today.
And that's what I give you. Oh, I should give you the key here.
Fine. It is a little bit. Okay. So I don't like that. Okay. I'm not a big fan.
And give you guys about 3 minutes. Try to do this yourself. And if you want to work with the person next to you, go for it. I'll walk around.
What?
And then
In coast.
ask me questions if you need to.
That's two.
Okay. -3.
You just say.
5 reasons why I'm a.
Until the first cycle. Yep. You're just looking for the first cycle.
Oh yeah, that's really bad. Never mind.
Not doing it.
College.
Too much work.
Yeah.
And the period is pi over 2.
So B is 3. That 25. Am I right? So
Is the.
sure, no, that's right.
Are you getting work on
I already read it.
On board.
So you don't read it.
You can multiply them.
Pi.
Just break into it. You work on it.
I know how to do that.
I genuinely.
Hey, there's a.
What is the period?
Period is perfect.
Yeah.
I know it.
Side.
Interesting.
Pi over 2 is equal to
Higher two, right?
You go with me, right? I'm so bad at that.
Cat.
Fraction is COVID here, like it doesn't count.
You're taking it next to
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you too?
Yes.
Oh, me too.
It's cold.
That's just maybe in Poland.
I wanted this.
You wanna be businessman? Oh, you're gonna think you like
Yeah.
be like a CEO and stuff though.
Yeah, but that's not the period. The period is.
You can do it.
And it takes good.
I do it. It takes a lot.
We didn't have to be. I think, even though you couldn't pass wrong yourself, you couldn't pass count with us.
And my
I don't, yeah, that's.
You good.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so.
I don't know why we.
Wait, you have to do it.
Going into bio.
Boom. All right, class, let's go. So we're going to do it by cosine.
Wait.
And the equation is,
My wife.
you can do it by sine still, if we need to be.
I did it right.
For sure. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do it together then. That way. So real quick here, everybody okay with the -3 for cosine? Cool. And then we got ourselves our B value. B value is, oh, interesting. 2 pi divided by pi over 2. Are we good there? And if that's the case, the simplified version would be 2 pi over 1 multiplied by the reciprocal. Is that right? Reciprocal of pi over 2, which is 2 over pi. Pi's are gone. And tell me if you guys have a...
So the period,
Period is pi over 2.
it's the
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so let's do it like this. Let me do it on the side here. So period would be, period is 2 pi over b, right? So if that is the case, you would put pi over 2 here. Everybody there? And you get 2 pi over b here. So then you can, oh, you have two fractions, right? Can you cross multiply?
Yeah.
Cross multiply. 2 times pi is b pi. And then 2 times 2 pi is 4 pi. And we divide by pi. And we get ourselves b equals 4. Are we good?
Wait, how do we decide? Why is it?
Good, good.
Because pi. Oh, because it's cycle already.
Yeah, just one complete cycle, not two,
I
right?
understand.
Just looking for one. Yep, yeah, same either way. Okay, so let me write it down here because I'm missing some space here. So y is equal to -3 cosine. We got ourselves my b value, which is 4. Are we good there? And the rest is easy. Let's go with it here. So, do we have a phase shift? Phase shift? No, not for cosine, right? Because cosine begins here, is just a flip of cosine, right? We have a reflection, but we don't have a phase shift. And then do we have a vertical shift? No. So here it is. Final answer is, why did I have an A over here? Sorry, that should be a Y. So Y is equal to -3 cosine of 4x. Okay, everybody agree there? Okay, let's go with, Caitlin asked about the sine curve. So let's do the sine curve real quick here.
Right.
Uh-huh. So let's see. First things first is, where did you start off? For here? Here. I mean, like if you think about where the sine curve starts here.
I said that the sine curve, and maybe I'm wrong, I'll just start at the bottom, and the amplitude was 6.
Oh,
Why does that work?
because the sine curve always goes up and then goes down, then goes back up to 0, right? Sine curve always starts off at your 0. So it's here, goes whoop, and then it goes a whoop, and then it stops here.
Oh, but you count amplitude from the middle.
On.
Okay.
Interesting. I wonder if this will work here. Right?
Thanks.
So here's your sine curve, right? Your sine curve is right here because the sine curve starts in the middle, goes up, goes back down, and then goes back to 0, right? So if you're going to do a sine curve, you got to match it up with that one right there.
And then,
So let's go with it. So if I look here, if I start here, right, the amplitude is 3, and that's a +3, right? Because it's not a shifting of the sine curve. Next is my period. My period for the sine and cosine are going to be exactly the same. Right? So this is, let's see, pi over 2. This guy is pi over 4, right? This is pi over 4. And this would have to be pi over 8. As I go around, I need to figure out what this guy is. So this guy is, goes 5. I think it's just like pi over 8, right? Because that's 3 pi over 2, right? So let's see. Let's make sure that we, half. So this is 3 pi over 8. Are we good there? This is 4 pi over 8. This would be 5 pi over 8. We good? So my period is the high value, subtract low value. So 5 pi over 8 subtract a pi over 8 gets me 4 pi over 8, which is really pi over 2. Are we good? And then this process begins right here. So the period is always going to be the same for both of them. So I get an answer of 4. And now the question is, do I have a phase shift? Yes, I do. I have a phase shift with pi of sine with pi over 8 to the right. And then we got ourselves +0. Cool. So final answer for sine, you are welcome. It's going to be 3 sine parentheses 4x minus, you guys okay with pi over 2 as our final answer?
Yeah.
Da-da-da-dum.
well, the sine and the cosine of the same graph would be whether the first number is negative, positive, and whether there's a shift for.
And there always will be a phase shift, right? Because sine and cosine are offset of each other.
Hypothetically, could you also just give it more shift and then not make it a reflection of sine? Like make it a reflection of sine and shift it more?
Perfect. Yeah. So if you started
Something like
sine,
that.
yeah. So Adrian's asking right over here. Let me do this. So highlight. Go red. So if you started the sine curve right here, right? So if you started that as your beginning, so boom, there's your sine curve. Now you have a reflection,
Mm-hmm.
but now you're starting at 3 pi over 8. Right? So yeah, begin. So yeah, so you guys can have multiple answers to the same graph. We're good. But normally what we do is we try to get the simplest possible equation, right? Simple possible equation is starts low, right? It goes up and comes back. So it looks like a cosine curve. So if I don't have to use a phase shift, I don't want to use a phase shift.
And so will it be marked wrong if it's the less simple one?
No, it will not be marked wrong.
Why would you?
Totally agreed. Number 4. Ready for number 4. This is it. Love it. Now let's do some crazy stuff. Da 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 da. 3 minutes for number 4. We didn't get to space. We'll have to take off. We'll do this space one on one.
So it's 4.5 homework to be signed then?
Yeah, we've got, besides this one, we got to the end.
No.
All right, because there's only 3 minutes left in class, we're gonna do it together real quick here. We good? So first things first is, this is offset now. It gets a little bit crazy, but we can do it because we're cool at that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, so real quick here, what we do to get the middle of 110 and 10. What do we do to get the middle of 110 and 10 is we add. We add 110 plus 10 divide by 2 because you want the average.
Yeah.
So 110 plus 10 divide by 2 is 60, right? Because now it's going to be 50 to the top and 50 to the bottom. We good?
So the amplitude will be 50 and the point is 60.
Yes.
Okay.
We're good there? We got 2 more minutes here. If we could pay attention for this one right here quick here, because this is the little more difficult one. So the middle is 60. That means this guy. That means the vertical shift is 60. Are we good? What is my amplitude? 50. It's from the middle to the end or to the top or middle to the bottom. We're good?
In sphere.
So right here, that's 50 and that's 50. We're good? That's why the amplitude is 50. Does it look like in the beginning of it all, does it look like a cosine curve or sine curve? Cosine, absolutely. Amplitude, cosine, B value, H and K, as long as we put those guys together, we are good. Oh, sorry. And 48 seconds left. Here we go.
50.
So if you guys can put in what you need here. So A is 50 or negative 50? Negative 50, because it starts off as an upside down cosine curve, right? It goes up, comes back down. Here's my cosine curve, 1 cycle. So that means if this is 2 cycles, that means this is 10. Is that right? Okay. But let's put it together. I'll just have the answer on the back, right? Good. So everybody okay with negative 50 for A? Is that right?
Yes.
Negative 50 for A.
It's going to take too much work to figure out.
What are we going to get for B? What's B? B is my period is 10, is that right? Over 2 pi divided by B, right? If I switch these around, I get B is equal to 2 pi over 10, which is?
Oh, 1. Oh, pi over.
Pi over 5. We good? Do we have a phase shift? No. Do we have a vertical shift? Yes, it is. No, it's 60, right? It's the middle of my graph. Good.
Yeah, that's easy.
Awesome. All right, and the final answer is da 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 and da 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 and da 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 and da da da. Why do I missing the 50? I have no clue. But now the 50 is there.
It might be on the same
All right, and out of here.
Oh,
Even
well,
city council vaccine.
Yeah, no,
Even as a brush with it.